So it's 2026 is the year of Shalom. If you've been in our church, you've seen all our pictures all over the place. The focus is to deepening our relationship with God, interceding for our unsaved family and friends, mending of broken relationships, pursuing wholeness in spirit, soul, and body, experiencing a release of prosperity and success. It's kind of the theme behind everything that's going on for 2026. So, my talk today is going to be called The Four Seasons of Shalom. I started thinking about how church works and how each of us individually works. And I think a lot of times we, maybe not even on purpose, but just seems to come natural to a lot of us that we're just unbelievably hard on ourselves. Um, Things like we expect clarity while we're still healing, or productivity while we're exhausted, um, joy while we're grieving, certainty while life is actively changing around us. And we kind of have all these scriptures, and we read the Bible, and we read what's supposed to be happening, and we see, we read all the good things in the Bible, and we forget that there were some times where, every last one of them except for Jesus had some foolish moment in their life or foolish years in their lives. And we read, oh well, Elijah prayed for not to be any rain, and for 3 years it didn't rain, and then he said, let it rain, and it rained. And you're like, well, man, that guy did this. And you think about, well, David was the man with the heart after God. But then you forget all the stories that led up to that point. He started with the sheep, and then he got to this point of just chaos in his life. He had all these pains, and you read through the Psalms, and he says, like, I'm useless, I'm horrible, I'm terrible, I'm all these things. And he says all these things, and he's incredibly hard on himself, just like I'm saying that we're hard on ourselves. But at the end of every psalm, he almost always closes with, but God. Um, So I think a lot of times when we don't have clarity or productivity or joy or certainty, um, we start thinking that something's wrong with me. We start thinking something's going on. Oh, I'm not good enough Christian. Oh, I'm not a good enough person. Oh, I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm lazy. I'm behind. I'm broken. I'm lacking faith. But I'm here to ask you today, well, what if nothing's wrong? What if nothing's actually wrong? And that's just the stages of life that we go through. These are the processes that we live in. What if you're just human and it's just another season that you're going through? The Bible has a word for a life that can grow without being rushed, shamed, or flattened. And that word is shalom. And like I said, 2026, the year of shalom. And typically we understand that word to mean peace. And I know Pastor Terry's been talking quite a bit about shalom as wholeness. That's why we have words like deepening, interceding, mending, pursuing, experiencing, because these are all verb words, because that's what shalom actually is, a verb, and it can be a verb, but shalom actually means wholeness, completeness, soundness. And not only does it just mean peace, not only does it just mean that I'm whole, but it also includes your safety. It includes your health. It includes prosperity, which is one of our main focuses, is experiencing a release of prosperity and success. And it means relational harmony, which is what we're talking about in mending of broken relationships. Shalom is when your faith and your body stop fighting each other. Shalom is when your productivity no longer crushes your soul because you feel like you have to constantly work, work, work. Your emotions are allowed to tell the truth when you're living in shalom. And your limits are respected instead of denied. Because sometimes you just got to sleep in on a Saturday. And that's all right. Because, see, shalom is not escape from life, it's learning how to live inside life with wholeness. So, here's kind of the frame for today. Here's the basis of what we're talking about today. Shalom is not a moment that you arrive at. 2026. Okay, we're here. Shalom. Shalom. We're going to hear it all year long. Shalom. We see it on the walls. Shalom. It's not a moment that we arrive at that we're just here all of a sudden, but it's a way of growing through all of the seasons of your life without fighting yourself along the way. So I kind of just broke the concept of seasons down into shalom. And like I mentioned before, it's called the four seasons of shalom. I already kind of described what shalom means. I forgot that slide was there, but there it is. So shalom's not a moment you arrive at. It's a way of growing through all of the seasons of your life without fighting yourself along the way. So here we arrive at spring. Spring in a good, healthy, whole life. Spring is permission to be unfinished. Spring's awkward. Everything's melting away. All the trees the sun starts coming out, but all the trees are still bare. They haven't started growing all the way back yet, but the flowers start poking up out of the ground again. But nothing feels finished. And I got to tell you right now, like I'm in this place of feeling like I have a ton of things that I want to do. I have a ton of ideas. I have a ton of concepts. And I have what feels like with changing in my getting into my line manager position out at the university, I feel like I have way more time than I ever have, but also way less at the same time somehow. I have no idea how that works. I feel like all these moments, these little things these little moments are breaking and slipping away, and I'm finding that I want to do these things, but my my family always comes first, and so these other things slip away, and I have all these unfinished things that I want to do. So it's like I'm in this interesting moment of spring of my life of having this new job. It's been 6 months now, but having the new job, trying to figure that out. And I'm just now starting to see the leaves come back on the tree, and I'm starting to figure out how to live my life whole and still do the things that I want to do and experience the things that I want to do. But spring is awkward. Nothing feels finished. Nothing looks really that impressive. Everything feels kind of unclear or half formed because, like I said, the flowers are just starting to poke up. The leaves are just coming back one at a time. Um, you know, and in the stage of, or in the season of spring, we tend to be very kind of the worst at giving ourselves grace. Kind of like I'm talking about, like my space that I'm in, I keep feeling like, oh, I'm never finishing this. I didn't finish that. Oh, I didn't finish this. I have this project in my house I need to finish. Oh, I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it. I'm not doing good. I'm not doing good. I'm not doing good. And we have all these moments of just rarely giving ourselves grace when we're in the unfinished stages of our life, the unfinished seasons of our life. So I'm here to give you permission to be unfinished and to live out your life in spring. And here's the interesting thing, if you're a gardener or if you're anything like that, here's the cool thing about seeds is that most seeds, they don't grow in sunlight, right? They actually grow in darkness. It's where they start, buried down beneath the earth, the surface of the earth. Protects, and the dirt protects what's fragile. And the prophet Hosea says, to sow with a view of righteousness, reap in accordance with kindness. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord until he comes to rain righteousness on you. Break up your fallow ground. And that's what we do in the spring. The farmers, you'll start seeing them in the spring. They're going to start cutting them rows. They're going to start drawing them lines in the ground so that they can plant their sunflowers and their wheat and their beets and all those good things that grow here. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to tear up that ground so that it can be prepared and soft and ready for the seed. You know, this isn't really religious language. It's just agricultural wisdom that is happening here because it's just simple things, simple life. Tear up the ground, plant the seed, and then life begins to grow. Because before God grows anything, He works on the soil, not the outcome. He works on the heart, not the finished product. Because until we get to heaven, not a single one of us is perfected. So it's a continuous process of living in shalom. It's a continuous process of living in wholeness. Wholeness means rightness with God, building relationships with our family and friends and loved ones, and mending the brokenness and pursuing wholeness. That's what this is all about, because perfection will never be met until Christ returns. In spring, I just want to encourage you, is the season of honest prayer, the breaking up of fallow ground, asking for forgiveness in the places that we need to fix. It's therapy, self-reflection, talking to one another, talking to your family members and saying, hey, I'm sorry. Like in my instance, my unfinished song, or my unfinished story of I have this project in my house that I need to finish. I need to be open and honest with my family and say, hey, I want to spend my time with you. And this thing is bugging me. This thing is drawing me away from being able to be focused on you, being able to full attention. So let me take care of this so that I can take care of you. Or if I need to take care of focusing on my family, I need to say, hey, I'm sorry that's not getting finished yet, but I need to focus on you right now. So it's therapy and being honest with ourselves, and it's admitting, I don't quite know yet. Like there's one of the projects in my house is something that's happening up in my attic, and I don't know what it is, but I need to wait until the spring really to kind of take care of it, because it's having to do with melting and stuff like that. And it's not detrimental to the whole world that it's happening, but it's just something I need to be honest with myself and admit that I don't know what to do yet until I can be able to fix that. Um, and it's, you know, spring is also a season of interceding for people you love when you have no control over the result. So, all these things, being honest, being reflective, admitting that we don't know yet what the outcome is. Not every seed that gets planted is going to grow. And just interceding for the people we love so that they, even though we don't know what the results are going to be, praying for mending of broken relationships is going to be difficult for some of us, to pray and seek God and say, please mend this relationship, because we don't know the results. So it's going to require faith. We don't know if that person will come back. We don't know if the relationship will be mended. We know that God wants us to pray in that direction because that's what He's speaking through Pastor Terry for us to do. So we know that God wants to mend broken relationships, but we also know that humanity exists. And that means that not every person that we pray for a mended relationship is going to come back. It's not everyone's going to be mended. And that could be probably pretty tough. So here's just something I feel like some of us need to hear. And you need to hear it clearly. If you feel buried and you feel like you're not blooming, you may be on the right schedule. You're just not quite there yet. Spring is not failure, it's absolutely preparation. So if you're in any of these moments where you're beginning to pray for broken relationships, or you're pursuing wholeness, you're interceding, do you see all those things? Deepening, interceding, mending, pursuing, experiencing, all of those things are actions. They're in the process. They're being done. It's not, maybe at the end of 2026, we'll be able to say, I deepened my relationship, or I interceded for the unsaved, or I mended our broken relationships, or I pursued wholeness. But right now, During 2026, we're deepening, interceding, ing. We're doing this thing. So you're not going to be finished while doing. So just be remember that spring is not failure, it's preparation. So just begin laying the groundwork for those things that you need to lay the groundwork for. But just planting, spring is obviously not the end. Spring's just the beginning. Seed still needs to be cared for, and that's where summer comes in. Because pressure reveals systems, and it reveals things. The pressure of bursting out of the seed, and the little stem starts to come out. Summer is where things get real. This is where many people quit, not because they're weak, but because pressure exposes our bad systems, our bad methods, our bad thinking. So we start saying, like I was talking about, oh, I'm not good. I'm not, because I don't know. I mentioned not knowing things in the spring session, in the spring season. Because I don't know, I'm not smart. Or because I didn't mend that relationship, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't pray hard enough, or I didn't seek long enough. But we start putting so much focus on things needing to be done that we forget that we're still in the process. And that's where a lot of us quit, like I mentioned. But here's the truth about creation, and here's the truth about plants. The reason why they start in the dirt is because too much sunlight would absolutely burn that thing up. And it needs to be grown, it needs to be cared for, it needs to be in that sensitive cradle before it bursts out of the ground and starts taking in the sunlight. Because too much sun without water can kill plants. Even good things become destructive without rest, rhythm, and care. So the farmers can go break up all the fallow ground and tear up all the dirt and do all the soil and get it all ready, and they can put out the seed of spring, and they can do all that stuff, but if they don't water it, then it does them no good. And if they water it too much, it also does them no good. So we need to learn, while we're deepening, interceding, mending, pursuing, and experiencing, we need to learn to abide in him. John 15, 4-5 says, abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, so neither can you unless you abide in me. It says, I am the vine. You are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him, he bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do absolutely nothing. So this isn't like, mystical, magical language. Abide in me. Ooh, and you will have all these great things. It's just speaking of wholeness. It's speaking of shalom. It's speaking of soundness and completeness. Abide in me. Abide in me. Because you have to be connected to me to be able to grow. You have to be connected to me to feel the water. You have to be connected to me. It's just a warning against burnout. Abide in me. We get so focused and we get so worked up on getting things done that we forget to abide and we forget to find rest. And that's kind of what summer's about. Summer's always about sitting in the yard or on the deck, drinking lemonade, hanging out, relaxing. The kids are out of school. There's peace. Everything feels good. It's warm. The sun's out. God's doing his thing. But we got to make sure we don't burn out. We don't get too much sun, because then you get sunburn. But I was thinking about the Olympics, obviously, because they started. And, you think about the Olympic athletes and what they go through and all the effort that they put in. And it's crazy because, like I was mentioning, abide in me, deepening, interceding, mending, pursuing, experiencing. Those are all things that they do in training. And then when they do it, they've done it. When they get to the Olympics, they've done that thing. And what's so crazy about it is, like, those little skaters, can't remember her first name. Anyways, there's a figure skating couple that they met when they were like 11 years old. and they've been skating together ever since they're 11, and they're literally the best in the world right now, and they're amazing. We watched them yesterday. They're just absolutely fantastic at what they do. They're married, all this, and they're just their flow, everything. They just know right where the other person's going to be. They know how to spin this way, and they know when she knows when he picks me up that he's going to catch me, and when he throws me this way, he's going to be there when I need him to be there. When I reach out my hand, he's going to take my hand. They have these amazing things, but what we forget is we watch them do that thing, but they've been doing this every single day since they're 11 or 12 years old. They've probably puked a couple times from their workouts. They've probably been mad at each other. They've probably screamed at each other and said, "Why weren't you there when you did this?" They've probably been so broken that they wept tears of just pain and anguish because they thought they'll never get anywhere because I fell over on this trip, this trick that I was trying to do. Hundreds of times I fell, I fell, I fell, I fell, I fell. And if they stopped there, they would have stopped everything that they had the potential of doing. But we only watched that one routine. We see that one jump on the ski jump. When they jump off there, we watch it one time. They jump that thing 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 times before the moment that we get to see. And that's what makes them the best at what they do. We only see the finished product. And we start looking at ourselves, and instead of being inspired by these people, we start, I'm no good. I'm never going to be any good. I'm going to keep falling every time I try to do something, all this stuff. No elite athletes grow by grinding endlessly, though. They grow by recovering intelligently. They grow by sitting out in the sun and experiencing the rest that they need. Summer shalom looks like boundaries. You think of the rows of sunflowers, giving ourselves boundaries, not going too far, not staying out in the sun too long, not drinking too much water or too much lemonade, because you drink too much sugar, you get, whatever, the bad things that come with too much sugar. But you think of the rows of sunflowers, they plant in rows on purpose so that they can grow and they can get in there and they can do all the things they need to do to take care of them. Or wheat, everything beets, they're all grown down a row. There's boundaries for that growth. Summer shalom looks like honest conversations. Learns like it's learning when to water and when to stop. It's choosing sustainability over speed. Growth that costs your soul is not growth at all. And abiding is not passive. It might feel like it, abiding, oh, I'm just supposed to sit here and I'm now, look at me, I'm abiding. But trees grow, those branches that he's talking about being grafted into, you're growing, you're lengthening, you're extending out further and further your reach. Growth is staying connected under pressure, and it's turning your face towards him when he shines upon you. Kind of like the sunflowers do. They like to follow the sun. And when something's cared for faithfully, eventually it becomes visible. So all that watering that they do in the spring, that sunflower pokes up out of the ground. And that's where fall comes in. After they've put all that effort in the spring to plant, and then they've watered and they've done all the things that they need to do, they've been shaloming the whole time. And fall is just visibility without shame. Fall, we see all of the plants have grown and now it's time for harvest. I know when we think of fall, we think all the leaves are dying and they're turning their beautiful colors and they start to fall, but I'm thinking of fall as harvest, taking in all of the growth that we experienced over the summer, that we've been dependent, or we've been deepening, we've been interceding, we've been mending, we've been pursuing, and we've been experiencing, and now we're seeing the results of that. And I don't know if it's going to go along with the season. It'd be pretty neat if it did, but if we start seeing some of these things that we're asking for in the fall and the harvest time, that would be really neat. If people that we've been missing for years, that we've been wishing would come back to us, that would come back and experience with us and then come back and just be part of new life again. It wouldn't matter when to me. If it happens ever, I would love for it to happen. But I just thought it'd be interesting if it started to happen in the fall. Now we would start to have a harvest of all the things that we've been hoping for and praying for. Harvest doesn't create anything new. It just reveals what was already growing. Now you don't harvest what you wish you planted, right? You can't look back and say, "Oh well, I'm gonna go harvest the beets that I planted this summer when, or this spring when I actually planted wheat." Can't look back on the whole thing and be like, "Oh, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that." You got to get out there and work and take in the things that you actually did plant. You harvest what you actually did plant. And Psalm 67 is just fantastic, and it talks about it just a little bit. I'm trying to put all this stuff together so it all makes sense, but like I said with the sunflowers, they like to follow the sun. And we should be turning our faces upon Jesus so that he can shine upon us. So it says, Psalm 67 says, God be gracious to us and bless us and cause his face to shine upon us, that your way may be known on the earth, your salvation among all the nations. Let the peoples praise you, O God, and let all the peoples praise you. Let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you will judge the peoples with uprightness and guide the nations on the earth. Let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. Let earth has yielded its produce. The earth has yielded its produce. God, our God, blesses us. God blesses us that all the ends of the earth may fear him. The earth has yielded its increase. The earth yields and then God blesses and then we receive. How cool is that? Yeah, we got to work it. That's what happened with Adam and Eve. Now we have to toil. We have to work. We have to struggle through life because of choices that we make or choices that other people have made, choices that situations that brought us to where we are today. So we have to work. We have to go out and we have to harvest. We have to do the thing. But how cool is it that God gave us the ability to still grow things? He didn't just cut us off and say, figure it out. He didn't kick them out of the Garden of Eden and then be like, all right, now figure it out. Sort of did, but he still gave us the option to be able to learn how to take care of animals and grow plants and do all these things. Look around us everywhere we go in North Dakota. You can find fields of various plants everywhere we go because God gave us that ability. The earth yields, God blesses it, and we get to receive it. Another cool, truth creation teaches us is that, I know this is a cliche one, but it's still the truth, so it doesn't really matter. But fruit isn't for the tree. It feeds others. It carries seeds around. It multiplies life. And this is where people seem to maybe we misunderstand prosperity at this point. Because prosperity isn't necessarily excess. Yes, some people are going to prosper with excess. They're going to have millions of dollars. They're going to be wealthy. They're going to have that kind of life. But prosperity doesn't mean wealth. Prosperity just means that you're prospering, you're succeeding, you're living well, you're living in wholeness and completeness and soundness, and you're experiencing God on a good, healthy, wonderful level. And you're experiencing your family on a good, healthy, and wonderful level. And you're experiencing everyone else around you at a good, healthy, and wonderful level. So prosperity isn't excess. It's kind of like margin. It's having enough internal health that your success doesn't destroy your relationships, your integrity, or your body. It's like that figure skating, at the Olympics, like I was talking about. It's like the the spotlight being shined on them while they perform isn't what makes them famous, isn't what makes them skilled. It's all those spring, it's the time of spring, it's the time of summer where they took and they gave everything they had to get to that point. So it's not the spotlight that creates skill. But the spotlight, the shining upon us, Jesus shining upon us, that's what reveals what was built quietly through the days of relentless training, the days of relentless deepening and interceding and mending, pursuing and experiencing. So, fall shalom is enjoying the fruit without letting it define you. And here's the hard part for us North Dakota folks. Even the harvest is not the end, because every field rests, just like every athlete enters an off season. There's a reason why we don't have football every single Sunday, always and forever. And that's what brings us to winter. In winter, limits are not failure. I think we look at the trees losing their leaves, and we look at the snow getting in our way and holding us back from where we need to go. And we see all these things that kind of block us, and winter just is not that great, sometimes. But winter is where identity gets tested. It doesn't make us a failure because we're limited to what we can do. Like when we get snowed in, just because you didn't get to work on a day that there was a blizzard doesn't mean you're a failure or that you're not good at your job, or it doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that you weren't able to get there because there was things that needed to be limited. You don't drive down the road when there's a blizzard going on. It's just not safe. So if you start confusing worth with productivity, winter starts feeling terrifying. If you think that I'm not producing right now, I'm not growing, I'm not doing these things, I'm in the middle of this winter of my life and I'm not growing, I'm not growing, and you start thinking that productivity is the only thing that means anything, then winter can really feel, like I said, it can feel terrifying. But dormancy is not death. Like we see the leaves fall from the tree, but the tree is still standing tall. It's still reaching its roots down into the earth. In cold soil, roots grow deeper so that they can get further down. Life goes underground kind of to conserve strength. And we can do that in our times of winter when we're not maybe experiencing everything that we could, or we're having these moments where it's just kind of everything's blocking us from getting where we need to go. But in Isaiah 40, verse 31, Jesus says, or the Bible says, yet those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary. And it says wait. So we talked about abiding and we talk about waiting. There's all these words that ask us to take our time, to sit back and let these things happen, like we talked about the year of shalom, the year of peace, the year of wholeness, the year of completeness, the year of soundness. When all this is said and done and we've been working towards deepening our relationship with God, we've been interceding for our unsaved family and friends, we've been mending of our broken relationships, we've been pursuing wholeness in spirit, soul, and body, we've been experiencing a release of prosperity and success. All that's going to happen because we believe it's going to happen and we're having faith that it's going to happen. But then it's going to come to a point to where those moments are going to have passed. Those moments are going to have gone away from us. And there's going to be maybe, potentially in any of those situations, there's potentially going to be a winter for us to where there's just nothing growing. And we need to be okay with that. Because, waiting isn't necessarily laziness, it's conservation, it's saving our energy. Every elite athlete has an off season. Like I mentioned, football has off seasons. Every sport has an off season, and it's because they just can't take the beating that it requires to train constantly. They need to go vent. They need to go experience life so that they can get back and work hard. Um, so winter shalom, recovery is part of excellence. And winter shalom looks like saying no without guilt. It's letting yourself rest before collapsing. It's trusting that quiet does not mean forgotten. Rest is not a reward for strength, it's a requirement for staying human. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of us are hard on ourselves. We tend to be super difficult. We tend to be just beating ourselves up all the time. But in closing, I just want to say, some of you, you're not broken. You're just in spring. And some of you are not failing. You're just under some summer pressure of growth. Some of you are not arrogant. You're in the fall and you're learning stewardship. Some of you are not lazy. You're in winter and restoring capacity. And shalom is not choosing your season. You're going to go through life and you're going to experience your life the way that it happens, but it doesn't mean that you get to choose what's happening. Yes, we can choose to do the things, the deepening, the interceding, the mending, the pursuing, and experiencing, but it doesn't mean the result is going to come the way we want it to, or the result is going to happen this way, or the way that I'm going to force, God to do this one thing, or I'm going to intercede for this one unsaved family member and leave out the rest. All these different things that can come into our heads that happen. So it's not choosing your way, it's just abiding, it's resting, it's growing, it's pursuing, it's doing all these things. So I just want to encourage you to stop being so hard on yourself while you grow. There's nothing wrong with us. I think 2026 is going to be amazing, but I think it's going to take us a little bit of work to get there. Um, you know, yeah, we got a lot of things to work on as a church. I'm just the music guy. I'm just preaching because, Pastor Terry's gone. So we'll have to lean on him quite a bit, and I hope I'll be able to, be one that you guys can lean on as well throughout 2026. This year of wholeness, completeness, and soundness. There's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with the fact that there's only a couple of us in the building today. We're just humans and we're in season. So, Father, I just pray that you would just help us see that we live in reality. We live in the place that you've designed for us. That we can be in moments, that we can be in spring, that we can be in summer, we can be in fall, and we can be in winter. But the whole goal is to abide in you and to rest in you and to just live in wholeness, completeness, and soundness. And Father, I just pray that you would bring back those whose hearts have been broken or relationships that have been severed. I pray that you would just bring those people back, bring them back to us, not necessarily just so that they fill a seat here. I don't care about them being in a seat here. I just want to have mended relationships. I want to be able to speak plainly and truthfully and honestly and have those hugs that I've been missing for a long time from people because the relationships that have been broken. Father, I pray that we would be a church that deepens our relationship with you, that these words wouldn't just be words, that we would dig down deep and that we would break up that fallow ground, that we would live in our moment of spring and that we would plant seeds that deepen our relationship with you this year. And pray, Father, I pray that we would be ones that call those that don't know you, that we would pray on their behalf, that we would stand in the gap, that they would learn of who you are through our behavior, through our summer living, and through our training, and through our growth, and through all the periods of our lives that we've been going through, that we would be the ones that would speak life into those that don't know you, and that they would find relationship with you. Father, I pray that we would pursue wholeness in spirit, soul, and body, that we would, you know, find ways to live a healthier life physically, that we would find ways to just live a healthier life in spirit, and that you would sing to our soul, and that you would come dance over us, that our souls would grow and become enlightened and shine because of your glory, because your face is shining upon us. And Father, I pray that we would experience a release of prosperity. I know it's tough to think about prosperity and success when we have smaller numbers, or we think that we can't be this or that, but a small garden produces fruit just as same as a gigantic farm produces fruit. It's just smaller numbers, but we can still grow trees that are planted by living waters that have great fruit, that can grow and have roots that are growing for just extending out into the earth. So Father, I pray that we would just be that that this year of Shalom would be truth for us, that it would be reality, that we would experience all the things that you hope for us and that you dream for us and that you want for us. And I just pray that we would be able to experience the four seasons of life, the four seasons of Shalom, that we would be able to experience them and walk in honesty with you, that we would be able to understand the scenarios that we're in and the situations that we're in and know that we're good and we're going towards you, that we're seeking your relationship with you, that we're seeking deeper relationship with you, that it's okay if we're just starting to grow, that it's okay if we're fully grown, and it's okay if we have to weed out some things, and it's okay if we go harvest that fruit so that we can eat, and it's okay if we are experiencing winter, that if it's just snowfall and it's peace and it's quiet. I just pray that we would experience all these things and just in your name, and that we would know you deeper. And just thank you for who you are as always. It's always a privilege to be here with you. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.